Welcome to The Sarah Scoop Show. It's time to get the scoop with Sarah.
I'm Alex Quijano, and I play Mike on High School Musical, the series. Well, I wasn't originally gonna do this. This isn't what I went to college for. I was supposed to go to med school, and I played baseball in college. And I took an acting class because science classes are a lot when you're playing a sport. And so I took an acting class for fun, and honestly, because there was a really cute woman that was taking class. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna take that class. And the teacher kept kind of saying, I feel like you should do this. This is something I think you should do. It was my freshman year, so I was 18. And I was like, Mom, I got school and I got to play baseball. And he's like, Mom, no, I think you should do this. And then 4 years later, I had an internship in a hospital ER. So I was seeing some pretty crazy stuff, and didn't bother me. I could handle it. It was fine. I didn't freak out. But I just realized that I didn't want to be a doctor, and I knew I wasn't going to play pro baseball. And I thought, instantly I thought, I think I'm going to be an actor. And I started remembering that, when I was a kid, even very young, 10, 11, there's a movie theater by my house, my parents' house. And after swim practice or whatever, every morning I would get the newspaper. So back then, all the movie times were on newspaper. Man, I just made myself sound old. Plus this beard. I look like I'm remaking Castaway in my own house. I would just have my mom drop me off, and I would movie hop 3 movies, and I was by myself. And then she would just pick me up at the end of the day, and I would do that almost every Saturday. And I realized that this is something. It seemed to me that there was a reason why when I was in acting class, I was always so happy and I loved it so much. And again, I also knew that there was no way I was going to play Major League Baseball. When it revealed itself in a way that was really empowering and supportive in a way. Because I remember I had that thought at like 4 a.m. as I'm driving home from the ER. And the very next day I told my girlfriend at the time what I was thinking about doing. And without any hesitation, she went, 100%, you should do that 100%. And then I told my roommate later that day, and he went, 100%, you should do that 100%. Only supportive. Actually, the first 3 people I told were like, yeah, do it, go do it. Probably because I don't shut up. So no, I don't. Whatever the story is kind of to some extent, like when you're doing TV and film, that's paid work. So you're probably going to take it. But it is a business. Shorts I do because friends ask, or I think it's a really good story. And so a lot of times you don't get paid, but it's not about that. It's about what you're making and staying on set and staying current. Marlon, it's my dog. You want to pick now? Now's the time you want to go for the bone? Okay. No, that's great. Thanks, bud. But they're very different. Like shorts are, like I said, it's usually free, and it's like a quick passion project for someone, and then you're just hopping in and helping out. And so sometimes you're not just the actors. Sometimes you're helping out with food and all the stuff. Different if you're doing the same show for a while, because you build such a community and such a family. And you do that in a film as well, but in TV everything happens super fast. They are on a really tight schedule. It's a tight deadline. And sometimes in movies, you get a little bit more breathing room. That's about it. But when you're doing, it's all of them are about money and the longer it goes, the more it costs, and so they run out. For me, it's probably if it's a story I haven't told yet, or if it's a story that I think that's really important to be told, or I know it sounds really actory, but like when you have a story that you want to honestly tell so that somebody watching feels relevant, right? I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we hope to do, is like we hope that whatever story that we're telling, whoever is watching it, because somebody who's watching it either knows somebody who's going through it, is going through it, has gone through it, or is going to. And so you want to lend a voice to that story so that they don't hopefully feel alone, so that they feel some kind of so they don't feel alone. And so you hope that you get stories like that. You don't always get to tell stories like that. To be honest, those are the stories that I would do for free. You know, those are the things that you do for free. Every blue moon you get paid to tell that kind of story. More often than not, for me anyway, it's more for fun. And I get to tell a fun story. No, I don't. I like playing. So whatever version of the story I get to tell, I want to tell. So if that's half-hour multicam or a single cam or a cop show or something like that, I don't care. I love it. It's all fun. My favorite probably would be like if I could do a really dark show, because it's not something I've gotten to do yet, or a fun dark comedy. Those are the two things that I haven't gotten to do yet that I'm hoping for. Oh my God, that's my dream show. I'm looking forward to, like Ozark, or what, like of shows that are on now, I would say Ozark and What We Do in the Shadows are the two shows that just, but obviously they're so different, but for different reasons. There's so much, What We Do in the Shadows to me is just fun, pure fun, and Ozark is it's just a different level of work that they're doing. I'm not comparing them as far as like how talented they are. I'm just saying what they're doing on that show is pretty special stuff. He's amazing. He really is. He has a very clear voice in his storytelling, and so it's really easy to follow, to understand what he's trying to get across, and then hopefully I can do that. That's the goal, is to tell that story the way he wants it to be told. For Mike, it's an interesting thing, because I think the character has evolved. Like when you're doing like reading for a movie, you know how it ends, the character's arc. But for a TV show, you don't get all the stuff right away. So you're kind of taking it case by case and building the character as it goes. For me, it was really important from the beginning. The audition process was, thankfully they gave me I had a couple episodes to look at to kind of see where Mike was going. Because originally I read from Mazzara before they found Mark, and Mark's phenomenal and awesome, and he's so great. And what's awesome to watch when you work on a character and then you see somebody else who gets it, like it only could have been him. Great at it, that I love watching him do it. And it was so different than my version of it. For me to read for Mike, it was so different. At the end of the day, I'm a grieving father who just lost a relationship, the only relationship I've really ever had. And now I have to reconnect with a son who I don't have the greatest relationship with, who's also struggling. And so for me, it's really important to tell the story of a father who later in life is starting again and having to grow with his son. So it's a really nice give and take, where Josh teaches me things, or Ricky, I should say, is teaching me how to be a better father, and I'm also learning how to be a better father. and teaching him. So I really like what Tim is doing there. You know, I think we all, love is really scary. And at the end of the day, it's whether it's on film or in real life, it's really about how open are you willing to be in front of somebody? How vulnerable are you willing to be in front of somebody? And, in the case of the show, Lynn and I have been together for over 20 years. And obviously everything has changed. There are dating apps, like the entire world of dating is completely different now than it was 20 years ago. And I also met her in high school, and the person I am now is so different. So, you just have it's easy to come up with those questions. Are women going to like me? Am I wearing the right clothing? Do I make enough money? Am I good enough as a father to be interesting to another person? All the insecurities that we have as regular people exist in that same scenario, except now I'm 40 plus years old with a young man that I'm raising, and all of a sudden over my head in the water. Josh has a lot of responsibility. He's the number one on the show. But he is a really, really talented, creative, great young man. And thankfully, I've grown up. When I first moved to LA, I was a high school teacher. I was like a permanent sub, so I was always in class. So being around, young men his age, when I first met Josh, he was only 18. So it's not like it was foreign to me to be around, although, he's a professional. He's not a kid. He's been working for a while, and he knows what he's doing, and he takes it really seriously. So it wasn't hard. He's a pro, and, our job is to love each other. I look at him like he's my son, and he's so talented that when I got to watch the final episode, when I was doing the final scene of season 1, when he's doing the big show, I hadn't really seen him do all the great things that he can do. So I think the look on my face is genuinely excitement for all of them, because I hadn't really gotten to see them do what they do so well, that I was just really happy. Oh my God, yeah. I'm a horrible singer. If I started singing on that show, the show would end, or they'd kill Mike off. They wouldn't let me do that again. And that's really for the benefit of the entire world that they don't let me do that. And it's really saving a lot of ears. They're all so talented and lovely. They're just such a really, one of the first things I said to my friends and stuff when I got back from working is just how talented they all are in their own way. They're all so uniquely gifted, and they're all really lovely people. I really love this cast. They're all such great people to be around. It's a really fun group. Everybody's really lovely, and they're very welcoming and warm. I know you had Frankie, and I know you had Joe and Alexis, and they're all just so fun. So I don't sing. I'll get up and dance. Listen, I'm Latino. My hips work just fine. I do it, I've gotten to do it on Fresh Off the Boat, and I've gotten to do it on other shows. My dialogue in this is not as playful. So, I think Tim and the other writers have a really clear voice for Mike. So I don't really need to, Sometimes they'll let me adjust their dialogue to fit my cadence a little bit better. But for the most part, I just try to stick to what they ask me to say and make that work and come alive For the other ones, they can do whatever they want. We usually stick to the dialogue. Yeah. I could say that for almost all the shows I've ever been on. The writers work so hard to put the dialogue together and it's a collaboration, right? The whole thing is a collaboration, the directors and the writers and the showrunners and all of us actors, plus everybody else, right? The entire crew. So they work really hard to put that stuff on paper, and they've worked really hard to get specific about exactly what they're writing. And so I don't want to do them a disservice. I want to stick to what they say. If they say, they'll usually let me know. On Fresh Off the Boat, they would let me know if I could play with some stuff. If I have a thought or a suggestion, I'll bring it up in advance. I won't just spring it on them. And usually that takes a fair amount of trust. Like on Fresh Off the Boat, I worked on it for, the 6 years. So by year 3, they knew me. They knew the dumb stuff that I was willing to say out loud that would just pop into my head, and they would let me play from time to time. I think it's just the nature of the stories. I think because I've done improv, and it really is just, it's going to sound cheesy. It's like when you put the pants on of the character and your thoughts are, you have the world and the point of view of that particular character. The energy of the set will kind of dictate what comes up. If it's a fun, light moment, I can play in a fun, light way, in a jokey way. I mean, I think you can get from this interview, I'm kind of an idiot anyway. I'm kind of a goof. But when it gets very serious, it's just about telling that story. And so if you're in that mindset and you're improvising through that voice. And if that voice is having a very serious conversation, then your improv is usually pretty serious. It usually sticks to the story that's going on around you. And then that's just kind of our job as actors, is to fill the world up. So if something does happen, you don't fall out of it. It's kind of like what happens on stage when people are on in theater, right? If somebody drops their cue, you can't just stop. You have to pick them up, and you're not going to just make a joke if it's a very serious moment. You're present to what's happening, and then you just fill it in until they get back on track. It's the same thing. They're pros. They have, so Jason is kind of like the on-set coach for them. And he's wonderful. He's fantastic. And I don't want to just say like, that's not my job, but it's not. If they were to come to me and ask me something, sure, of course I would talk to them about it. But they're all really great. And when they do have a question, they'll go to Tim or to Jason. And that's that, we're all there to work. And just because I've done more doesn't mean anything. Like I said, they're all really talented people. So, nah. I just keep my mouth shut and go to craft services all the time. On High School Musical, one of the women, oh my God, I can't believe I'm blanking on her name right now. She makes really great fresh avocado toast, where she bakes her own bread and then she makes you the toast, and it's so good. This is like a big production, and so when they hire, I guess every set is different, but they have the same in Utah. They have the same catering company that they use, and then there's so that's separate from like craft services. They just fill it all with all sorts of goodies, and I gotta walk away every once in a while. They have like snack bar nachos. Oh, nuclear looking cheese that is like, is that real cheese? It might not be, but I don't care. It's so delicious. And then you get the jalapenos that are in the vinegar. Oh man, I'm only allowed to eat a few of them because I'll eat all of them. I think so, but it's really hard because I never understood until I started working why people were so tired on set. When you're, even if you're not working, you're sitting in your trailer, and it's really hard to go from like a 4 to a 10 to perform, to to have all the energy to get it across on screen. So you kind of always bubble at 8. And so if you take a nap in your trailer, it's not really a nap. You don't really go to sleep. You are always aware of the door knock to take you to set. So you never get to rest. So if you're on set for 10 hours, 12 hours, your energy is always at an 8, which when they finally say you're wrapped and you pull that plug, you get really tired really fast. But part of that is at lunch, if you overeat, if you eat too much, if you eat a lot of pasta, a lot of carb stuff, you get that crash and you still have half a day left. And so I try to eat, and I see almost everybody, I try to eat anyway, I'll speak for myself. I try to have a really simple lunch, and then I just pound dinner. Just your mind is always working. Your mind doesn't get a moment to turn off at all. It was interesting. Last year, I did 2 series finales. I did 13 Reasons Why, and that was a little bit different because I was such a guest. Like, I would hop in. I'd only do 1 episode a year or 2 episodes, so I didn't get as much as I really liked everyone I worked with. They were very close knit, and then we were coming in from the sides. Whereas Fresh Off the Boat, that was hard because they were such a family. And kind of like same with One Day at a Time, I would say both of those casts, I had such good relationships with some of those cast members that I'd had for years before I even got on that show. Like on Fresh Off the Boat, Randall and I, before I got on that show, we had already known each other for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
A couple of the co-stars are some of my closest friends, and we just happened to be on the same show. So there's a lot of sadness knowing that you don't get to create with your friends again in that way, in that show, in that really wonderful world. And everybody on all 3 of those, High School Musical, One Day at a Time, Fresh Off the Boat, everybody was so wonderful to work with. Everyone, camera crew, makeup, wardrobe, production, the writers, everybody was so great to me. It's a little bit of a punch, because you don't get to tell that story anymore. And for One Day at a Time, my first day on that show, I was on set with 4 classmates. 4 people that I was in acting class with were on that show. And it was my first time doing multicam, which is a whole different animal. So for as nervous as I was about doing a multicam for the first time, I felt very safe and protected because I was surrounded by really close relationships. And I think after a while, if you work long enough, you really start to it's a very small town. If you notice, like, you look at like Matt Damon and like all the guys that he's worked with, and you see, Adam Sandler brings in the same crew, and a lot of people like really working together, and you form these relationships with like-minded artists. And if you do your job and you're kind and respectful and come prepared and you're professional about everything, people will bring you back. And then you start forming personal relationships outside of professional relationships. They kind of blend. Like I said, like when we were talking about the writers, my job is to take whatever that they wrote and bring it to life. And there has to be a certain amount of respect for what they have created. And so if I come prepared, and we come prepared, and we come ready to go and ready to play and ready with ideas and ready to go, we're respecting all the hard work that they've done. And then they appreciate you more, and the day goes by faster and things go by quickly and you don't waste money. And then they end up trusting you more, because that's really what it is. They're kind of entrusting you with their work. I always want to act, but I would love to direct. Or you learn, you've read it, it's like I can't read regular books anymore because I'm tired of reading, because you're always reading scripts and stuff like that. And you're like, I just want to watch TV, or I want to play a video game, or I want to watch sports. I don't want to read. But you get an idea of how the flow of a script should go and stuff like that. You can't help. But I think I would have more fun directing. I think I see everything visually. And so, hopefully in the next whatever couple years of getting to work, hopefully I'll get to maybe one day just shadow a director and really see what the process is. Some people start really young. I know some directors that didn't start as actors, and to their credit, I met them in acting classes because, they wanted to learn how to talk to us. And they wanted to see what our point of view was when we went after a story, or, trying to tell a story, so that they knew how to deal with us on set. We're a whole different animal. And not in a bad way, but, some directors are very technical and they don't necessarily know how to talk to an actor. And then the actor's job is to kind of figure out what they mean. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying we just have to decode what they want. And then some directors, whether they were former actors or not, just really understand how to talk to us specifically. And they can just say a word or two, and then all of a sudden you're like, I got it. Okay, let's go. I mean, you hope that you can light switch it, you know what I mean? Just turn it on and off. That being said, you carry a little bit of every story that you tell into the next story. It doesn't always match up. It doesn't always translate. But what it does do is it gives you another perspective when you're working on your new character, that you have other, I know it sounds all like crazy or actory, but you hop into those other characters and you try to live those lives, and it's impossible for their points of view to not hop in when you're learning somebody else's point of view, when you're trying to create that other world. Those things are going to affect you in some way. You may not use it, you may not need any of it, but at least it may illuminate something. It may inform a perspective. But I don't think you ever really let go of a character. I mean, I worked on stuff, plays 10, 15 years ago. And if I read it again, I'll almost know all my dialogue again, because it's in you, it becomes a part of you in a way. And every point of view that you've taken will inform the next one. Tool bag of tricks. When they say, what's in a tool bag, I think your tool bag is just all the different points of view that you've gotten to do, all the different characters that you've gotten to work on, and people that you've gotten to hop into. That's part of your tool bag. I would say go to school, get your education. If that education is in drama, great. If you want to go, like all the actors that I really admire and appreciate, went to theater school. They all cut their teeth in theater. Whether they, started late, started early, the ones that I really watch, all worked on stage, because there's something really difficult and vibrant and great about that. That being said, not everybody has to go that route. But I do think that if you do go that route, I think it's really important. This is what I always tell everybody that, anybody young that's like, should I do it? And I'm like, yeah, if you want. If this is really what you want, it's going to be really hard. You're going to get punched a lot, and you're going to have to deal with that. And you're going to have to really build a thick skin. But if you do go to theater school, amazing. Also, get a side degree, a minor in business or marketing or something like that, because it's a business. And the more information you have, the more informed, the more professional you can be about that side of it, the less somebody can take advantage of you. And the more prepared you are for the business part of it, which I think is one of the hardest things to learn. Because, we all get into it like, I just want to tell stories and I want to be an actor and I think I want to blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden you have to make a living. And people are handling your money. And when you become very good and work a lot, they're handling a lot of money. And you want to know how they're doing that. You have to wear a lot of hats. Sure, if this is your dream, go do it. For sure. I would never tell anybody not to follow their dream. I would just say, also recognize it's a business and prepare yourself for that. And I speak from someone whose degree is in biology, and I didn't. And so I took a long time to have to learn that part. I speak from not having done that and having to go back and figure it out. There's self-tapes and stuff like that. People are putting themselves on tape. There's a lot of voiceover work. I mean, I don't know if anybody wants to hire me with my shaggy face and quarantine hair. I just have it back. Yeah, Mike would be ashamed. Josh or Ricky would be like, Dad, what is wrong with your face? I don't know, son. I just really love peanut butter pretzels. It's the same as doing self-tapes right now, except I think if you're smart about it, like I'm still in acting class. I take it over Zoom. I think for self-tapes, it's really you're learning how to really connect via Zoom or whatever format to another person that you don't get to have, then you get to touch.
Right.
And, physical contact is such a big thing for all humans. So we just have to learn how to connect through a computer now, which is only going to make our tapes better. And also, you just have to get equipment. I don't have a studio, I had to get lights and a ring light and, you got to get a mic and all that kind of stuff that I didn't really consider before. It's really hard on a lot of people. This is not just actors. I mean, of course, but, all the makeup artists and all the sound crew and all the grips and the lights and, wardrobe. There's so many people that are affected by this that they don't get to work. And that's just in the movie industry. We're not even talking about, people in other walks of life. So it's just hard for everyone right now. I think we just have to be really nice to each other. I was shooting episode 3 when we went home. I hope, like I said, they don't let me know anything. They'll let me know when I'm working, and then I'll get all the stuff, and I'll go, oh, this is what's happening with me. There are rumblings, and that's all I'll give you. We'll see what season 2 brings. Like, I'm not going to say anything, but I just hope they still like us together. And man, she can sing. Ugh, it's ridiculous. I'm only on Instagram right now, and I was forced into it. I'm not the most social media savvy person. I don't even know what my handle is. I think it's Alex_Quijano_. maybe. Let me see. I don't know how to find out what I am. Oh yeah, Alex_Quijano_. Without a beard. It's
Okay.
pretty easy to find. On an episode of Lucifer coming out on Netflix, and I think in June. It's really fun. It's really fun. And I had a very baby part on Space Force. Favorite thing is that I don't think anybody, I think I get to be all sorts of stuff. I don't get stuck in one thing. I mean, the show's darker because people die. I don't know if my character is very dark.
Okay.
You'll see.
Thank you for watching The Sarah Scoop Show. Head to sarahscoop.com for more.